Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the institutional YouTube account session. I do intend on recording this session. As you can see, I've already started because I'm notorious for forgetting to start recording, so I have to do it in advance. And I will be editing this to make it shorter in length and to enable us to have a more professional look to what's coming to be distributed later on to those who have missed this. I'm a little bit less prepared than I would like to be for this particular session, but I'm pretty sure we'll be able to cover everything we still need to, even if I didn't have slides for everything quite prepared. So let's go ahead and get into our YouTube institutional account here. First, though, I wanted to make a few points. Why YouTube? In many cases, we're creating video and just use the video, share the raw video file. Well, it has to be completely downloaded before it can be viewed. So this means if you have a video for, say, a Google Meet session that was for class and you're trying to share that onto a student, that student has to use up all that bandwidth to download the file. And then they can open it up if they have an application that will allow that particular file to run. Instead, we put it on YouTube, which is a streaming service. YouTube stores the file, and the only part that they transmit over the internet is just enough information that will allow that picture to show at that moment with that video and audio. So the streaming uses much less bandwidth, and students can start right the moment that they start clicking that link, as opposed to sharing the Meet recording. They have to download the whole thing before they can start watching it. Also, the streaming works on nearly all devices and platforms. If you have a smartphone, it's probably got a YouTube app on it, and clicking a YouTube link will probably open up the app for you in that smartphone. But they'll also play on anything that's connected to the internet with a browser, as long as you can have a fast enough internet speed. Even then, streaming will just buffer until it has enough information, and then it'll start playing again. So streaming is much more economical in terms of how you use your resources. There are also much fewer problems if you're streaming video than if you're trying to have students open and view raw files. If you're just sending out the MP4 video recordings from your Meet sessions, students may not be watching them if it takes too much hassle in order for them to even access them. So moving them to YouTube is going to make them much more accessible for your students, and you don't have to worry about handling all these huge video files. Once you push it to YouTube, you can delete the other files. The formats, though, that YouTube will accept might be different than what you're using to produce the video itself. For nearly all applications, you're likely to get one of the top few options here. Google Meet's record in MP4 format, which is very common, but the .mov, MPEG-4, AVIs, and WMVs are also very, very popular. So YouTube is much more likely to be able to accept one of the stranger formats, and your students will be able to open it. There's also, in the YouTube help area, if you have a different file format, it will guide you on how to convert that format. So if you're using, say, a video camera from the mid-90s and you need to convert that into a format that YouTube can accept, there may be some help out there already for it. But these are the most popular ones, and you're unlikely to run into problems unless you go outside of them. For uploading to YouTube, we're going to cover a few options, 3 specifically. We'll look at just a regular video file upload. If you've got it sitting on your hard drive or on the drive already, this is the quick and easy one to use. We'll look at the Meet recordings themselves because they have to be handled a little bit differently. YouTube was not originally a Google product. Google purchased YouTube, but that means that their integrations aren't set up quite the same yet, and it takes a lot more time to figure out where to connect something that already exists then how to build it so it connects with everything else. So there isn't the easiest way for us to move a Meet recording into YouTube without an extra step. And it's this extra step that it would benefit you if you have a fast internet speed. If you do it here on campus, it will go very, very quickly. The last one we'll cover here is we'll touch on the Screencast-o-Matic method, since that's one of the methods we share with faculty so that they will record their lectures in advance. I heard a chime, so I'm going to get here. Vimeo is used through the other departments on campus for institutional support through the help desk. We are not supporting Vimeo. Vimeo would really be used more in Matt Keeney and for publicity side of the house. We don't have the ability to edit easily in Vimeo and push captions the way we need to, so we're not going to cover that. Vimeo also cannot be as easily embedded. Captions are, as I said, a little more difficult to produce, and you are unable to control speed with Vimeo. So if you're like me and want to have your video show up at double time, because you don't have the time to watch the whole video at regular speed, you're stuck watching Vimeo at that short, long speed. So YouTube's a bit more flexible, which is why we've decided to support it in online learning. So if you want to use Vimeo, feel free. You can still access Vimeo through Screencast-o-Matic or upload the raw video, but we cannot caption it through our office, and we won't be able to support if you're having troubles. Okay, so those three then are what I'm going to cover here, but let's get right into it and explore YouTube itself. I'm going to jump over to a different tab here. This is not my institutional YouTube account, but in order for me to show you a lot of these steps, I have to have one that is not interconnected to everything. So it's a raw, fresh out of the box. And that's kind of what we've got here in this particular account. The way to get to your YouTube account is to find any of these, we call this the waffle. Some may have called a hamburger, but it's similar, but this Google waffle will give you a list of a whole bunch of different apps that you might be on a different page for. So let me get to, I'll show you on my Gmail. The waffle is up here next to my Jeffco avatar and icon. And when I click that, I get access to all of my Google apps. There's a lot in here. And if you scroll down, you'll see there's our YouTube, and there's a lot more. If you don't see what you need, go to the marketplace and scroll until you find it. But this is the one we need, just this straight YouTube. This is what I would click to get to my institutional YouTube account. If I am signed in to a different account, I may have to come in and click to get to a different one. So if I come in through and click my avatar here and select switch account, I can skip to whichever account that I may need to. So if I'm not signed into my institutional account and there's a different avatar appearing there, I should be able to either jump in just by clicking to this one, or I can add the account and then sign back into your My Jeffco. So this icon should appear the same way that your icon appears in your Gmail up at the upper right, but mine won't, like I said, because I'm in a different account right now. So this is the way easily to jump back and forth between these accounts. If you've ever had a problem getting logged out of Blackboard or of My Jeffco and you have trouble getting back in, it's probably because the Google account is switched, and that would be this here. So I would have difficulty logging into My Jeffco right now because I've logged into this account. So once I'm in here, the first place I want to go is the YouTube Studio. This is the easiest way to work with your files. And you'll probably have to get rid of some of these pop-ups if it's the first time you've ever used them. Click through, and then you can close them as you go. I'm dismissing a lot of these things. You can read them if you like, but they're really not going to pertain to you much. There is nothing in here. I have an upload videos button that says there's nothing in your account yet. So that's fine. You're not going to be distracted by the other stuff that I have here. But now that I'm in the right one, all I have to do to create is to click the little video camera icon and click Upload Video. Now I can navigate to where I'm storing that file, or if it's sitting on my desktop, I can just drag and drop it in here, anywhere in this box, and it will start uploading that video. The drag and drop tends to be very, very easy to use, but it's also hard to see on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and switch the way that I am displaying my screen. I'm going to shift this over so you're going to see my full screen now. And this will allow me to jump back and forth a little easier. So please forgive me if you get some strange Inception-like pieces here, but I want you to be able to see all of the layers of the screen here. So I'm going to go ahead and select a file. Notice that you're not in your Google Drive here. I'm not on my work computer, so I don't have things set up that way here, but I have no way to access my Google Drive with this method. I now have to download my files first before I do that. If you have Google Drive file stream, then your Google Drive will appear in this list as a separate location, and you can dig into it and find those files. But since I don't have it here, I have to pull this out of my drive in order to get it to upload. So I'm going to wait on that for a moment and go through those. Right now, I want to show you all the pieces that we have here in Google. All right. The videos button here is where you'll see a long list of all of your videos. You can edit them from this page. You can delete them. You can rename things, change permissions, all of this through the videos page. And again, I got there from, let me go back to that first part. Maybe I'm not in the spot I can do this. On my avatar, and then under there is YouTube Studio. That's where I am. The video list here, if you create playlists and you want a specific set of videos that should be sent out to students or to whoever you would like to send them to, you can create a playlist, and then that single web link you share with them will have all of those videos specifically. You're curating a set of videos for someone to watch. Analytics will give you some information about your videos once people start watching them. Which ones are watched most often? When do they get watched? Are people only watching part of them? So you can look and carefully see a lot about the habits of your users and which ones are most popular. If you allow comments, they'll be over here. The subtitle screen here, you only have to worry about if you are attaching your own captions file. More information on that in a bit, but most of the time you won't have to mess with this. Monetization, you won't be doing since you're not making money off of these videos other than through student course tuitions that are coming on to you. Customization, we won't worry too much about. Audio library, you won't worry much about. Settings we're going to get into in just a few minutes. But first I want to show you the process for those 3 ways to upload files. So I'm going to start from the very, very beginning. When I jumped into my YouTube page, this is where I am. Now I'm going to click on my picture and click YouTube Studio, which puts me on the page I want to be on. Create, upload videos, and then select the file that you want from wherever it's going to be. I have an MP4 right here because I downloaded it. So I don't want to put that one because it's incredibly long. But this is how I would select my video, and it will go ahead and pull it in. I get to name it. It will import the file name. So if you're using like Google Meets, you're going to get gibberish here that you'll probably want to rename. It will immediately share with you this is the URL for sharing. It's not even fully uploaded yet, and we already have our shareable URL. Clicking that will allow you to share this link, and once it's processed, everyone can get to it. Simply clicking into this box and giving us a description of what may happen to be in the video is a good idea. As you scroll down, once it starts pulling this video in, it will show thumbnails. If it's a shorter video, you'll be able to see them quickly. You can pick them here at this time. A thumbnail will be that little tiny picture of your video. When people see that thumbnail, this is you selecting what that will look like. You can also do this after that video is finished processing. If you want to add it to a playlist now, you can. And you'll need to choose if it's made for kids or not. For almost all of our purposes, we will not be making things for kids. This is to ensure that if you're putting these on, say, your personal account, if you have a Gmail address and you want to create a video to share with your friends that's not Jeffco, you can upload that and share it with your friends. YouTube is perfectly free to use. But if it's not made for kids, then they can monetize it. They can put ads on your video. We'll caveat about that in a moment. If it is made for kids, they will not put ads on those videos. YouTube has stated that they refuse to monetize these materials that are intended for children. They don't want to turn children into consumers, at this kind of consumer, at least at this age. So we need to mark that it's not made for kids because we don't want it to show up on any of the kids' searches. But because we are a Google Suite for Education license, we have all of these extra features for our faculty. Any ads won't be put on those. So they will not monetize any Education Suite YouTube accounts. So we don't have to worry about that, but that's really for your own purposes. If you're making it for kids and it's intended to be viewed by them, you may want to tick that button so that YouTube won't jump in and throw ads in there. There are some other ads in here, other options in here down here, but you really probably won't need those with the purposes that we have here. So once I've given it a title and a description, and I can grab my link, select my thumbnails, when I click next, it'll say, you can do this once we're done. It's not ready for this part. So click next again. And now we're in the visibility piece. If you get captions, you need to tick public for this. If captions are processed through online learning, we can't access your video unless you've made it public. The captions can be automatically posted back to your video, so you don't have to do anything other than fill out the form. But if you need captions, it has to be public. You can turn that off once the captions are posted, but until then, leave it public. Unlisted means that it can't be searched for. No one will be able to find that if they're searching for it. You're the only one who has that link that you share out. But if someone else shares that link again, they can find your video. This removes it from most of the public being able to access it. For nearly all of the videos that I share out, I prefer to leave them public to get captioned, and then I switch them to unlisted. If you move it to private, it's much more difficult to get people to see it very quickly. You have to add people by hand to get access to that video. So unlisted tends to be the best one after you have captions. And until then, give it a public listing. We still have the ability to copy our URL at this point too, if we want. If you want to wait and schedule when that video is released, you could do that too, but we can't caption it until we have public. So when you click publish, what then happens is it starts officially uploading your video. It will do several processing steps here. It will first process a standard definition version. This is kind of a grainier version than what we're used to, but this is so that it can get it up quickly. The SD version will only take about 10 minutes, and this particular video is 1 hour and 41 minutes long. So in 10 minutes, you'll have an SD version of the video. After it finishes with that, it'll do the HD version of the video for the higher definition. And then users can select which of those two they want to use. If you have a weaker internet signal, you might want to check the standard definition because you're likely to have fewer buffering issues. It takes a lot more bandwidth and data to show you a very clear, pristine picture. But if a standard definition works, then your students are probably going to want to save their bandwidth and they'll select that. This does not have to remain open. You can close it and go and do another video if you like. But if you notice, once I close it, I can't really find it here again. Remember, it's all in videos. So now we can see a little bit more about our video itself. And you'll see that we get some pop-ups to help us learn if we're new to our account. This video is not going to show anything until it's finished processing that SD, that standard definition. It will tell us that our visibility is pending and that we can't see anything. If we try to click through to view this video, we won't see it until it's ready and it's finished, okay? If I click on here, I get the details again. And I can come in and make these changes if I need to. Goodness, there's a lot of tutorials they have now. But I can also grab these. You've seen these before. So if you accidentally make a mistake, you can jump back in and make some changes if you need to. While you're looking in your main video here, let me get back to this details page. So if I am editing this, our lovely little pencil details, while I'm here under more options, there is license information. Now there are 2 licenses that you can choose from when you upload to your institutional account. And that is the standard YouTube license and the Creative Commons attribution. If you use a standard YouTube license, you are telling your students and anyone who views that video, you retain the rights to this video. They cannot copy it, they cannot use it on their own, and that no derivation of this video, no clips of it, no alterations of it can be used. It's yours. They need to go to you if they're going to change it in any other way or use it differently. Creative Commons attribution will allow you to say, I don't care what you do with it, grab it, cut it up, put on a different voice over it, do whatever you need to with this. So select one of these 2. If you feel the need to use the Creative Commons, then go ahead and go into more options and select it. By default, YouTube is going to say, you want the standard one. You want to retain your own rights. So that's by default. That is in the more options behind the details. But the basic is the same stuff we'd filled out earlier. Okay, so that's uploading a raw video file. But what if I have a meat video that I've just recorded? I'm actually going to jump back in here and see. So if I have a meat video that I've recorded, and if you've done this before, you know you get an email when that meat is done recording. Looks kind of like this. So if I were to open this in Drive, it will automatically take me to my meat recordings folder. And here is my meat recording, all sitting here nice and lovely. It's a nice short one. So if I want to, I can go ahead and play it. You can see, wonderful, fantastic. You get to see me just staring at this with my face and my mask. Go Blues. But this is a short video, and students are going to have to download the whole thing before they can watch it. If you have a long class, this isn't going to work where it is. And there's no way to get it out of Drive into YouTube easily. So what you have to do is download it. Now to download it, you can double click on it again, and up at the upper right is a download button. To download it, it will scan for viruses and then it will download it to wherever the default is. This one allows me to see I'm in Chrome and it's in my main downloads folder. So it's downloaded to my computer. So now if I want to go in and create my video, this is my Google Meet video that I've downloaded. It's the same steps. Create, upload video, select file. There it is. It's now in my downloads folder and I can add it in. So if you have a file that is a Google Meet file and it's sitting in your downloads folder or in your Meet recordings folder, you have to download it to your computer first and then push it up into YouTube. Make sense? I'm going to stop after this one and see. Actually, I'll go ahead and come back to sharing the other way and see if we have any questions about so far. I know that's a lot. The next piece that I'm going to look at is Screencast-o-Matic. But if there's some questions about the Google Meet pulling it out of the drive, that's probably one of the trickiest pieces here. If you just share the Meet recording that's sitting in Drive, your students are going to have to download the whole thing. So if we don't have further ones, I'm going to go ahead and ready up Screencast then. Format the worst, the easiest for uploading. MP4 is probably the one that has the least amount of problems. I'm pretty sure that's why Google decided to make that the format for Google Meet recordings. Seems to be the one that most students can view, as well as there are fewest hiccups in translating it from MP4 to YouTube streaming. Okay, I'm going to switch back to, if I can remember how, stop and present the entire screen. This is tricky to do if you have overlays. If you've used Screencast-o-Matic, you may be familiar with this is kind of what a finished recording would look like. At the bottom, I have my bar that shows me where my audio is, the screen that shows me what I've been recording. There is a recording here. And then once you've finished that recording, you're presented with this. If you say, I want to edit, you can go into a full edit stream, but you'll also often have save as video file, upload to Screencast-o-Matic, upload to YouTube, or, and I know someone's going to perk up at this, you can also upload to Vimeo here. So if you're pre-recording, this is not live class sessions, this is your lectures in advance, important information to get out to students, not synchronous stuff. You may wish to say, go ahead and upload this to YouTube. It will ask you to connect your account. And here I'm going to say, yep, connect it to YouTube, give it permission. It got successful authorization. And now it's going to go straight into my YouTube account. I can name it at this point. Yeah, all caps. Change my privacy here. Give it a category. If I want to give it a category, choose if I want to highlight the cursor or not. And when I publish, this is extremely short video, by the way. It takes it a little while. Once it's finished, and I come back here, now I have to switch to my other account. Oops, that's not it. Just a tiny bit off. So now when I come back in here, there's my test recording right here. And I didn't have to mess with YouTube all that much. I can get the URL, remember, by clicking the details, and there's my URL, and I share it with my students in my class. So using Screencast-o-Matic is a very, very fast way of pushing things straight into YouTube. That works all fine and dandy if all you need to do is push your videos up into YouTube and get them out to your students very quickly. All of those steps will get you that information. But if you need to caption them, there's an extra step that needs to be done. And that's assigning a manager, specifically Karen Altno-Smith. She's the one who does the majority of our caption grabs, and she's the one who will push your courses or your recording, your video, into our captioning system. So in order to do that, we have to add Karen. So I am going to go back to as I logged in. I have just landed in my YouTube account. Now I need to go to my settings. And in settings, the add or manage your channel piece is important. And in fact, I think I need to change out of this account. So my apologies. Let me switch to a different account because it will already have been set on that one. So now, once we see our advanced settings, or is this manage? Forgive me, I have steps on this. No, I'm not gonna be able to do it on this one. Let me pull the steps up instead and just look over those. In settings, permissions, that's what I'm looking for. Invite will be at the upper right. Then you simply add Karen's email, change her access to manager, click done, and then save. So let me see if I can actually get this found here. All right. Maybe because this is not the same one. I don't think I have the same one. I should have permissions over here, but I do not. So it needs to be an institutional account to get that. Let me try it. Is it advanced? I cannot seem to find this, of course. It's probably connected accounts, and I've just already connected all of these accounts. I assure you that these are the proper steps that should go through. I just don't have enough YouTube accounts to be able to do it on another one. Once you've assigned Karen as a manager, then you'll be able to note that when you fill out the captioning form. A few notes on that. If you're not sure whether or not you need to caption your files or your videos, there are two parts. First, do you have a student who needs accommodations? If so, you must caption your videos. If that accommodation says that they need video captioning, we need to know this. It's part of the form. If you alert us that they need them, then we fast track them and ensure that we can get those videos captioned as quickly as possible for those students. If you plan to reuse your video, then you also need to caption it. If you do not plan to reuse it, if it's a one-time and it's done, if you're going to use a completely different video the next year, you don't need to caption. Remember, Google Meet has automatic live captions as well, so you can turn those on if need be. They're not perfect though. So if you have a student who needs captions, we need the form filled out. The form is going to get a few updates this week because YouTube has updated, and every time they update, something is supposed to get easier, which means I have to take part of the form out. So that's going to happen this week. But once we start off next week, as you're filling out that form, note that you have your Jeffco institutional YouTube account. And if you've completed those steps, you assign Karen as a manager. If you've assigned Karen as a manager, all you have to do is email her and say, I'm going to put videos in there probably 2 or 3 times a month. Can you get them in? If it's a student who needs captioning accommodations, then we'll check very often and make sure we push those through. But if you are building a single YouTube account full of your videos and you just need them captioned, Fill out the form, tell us where the account is, how often you'll put videos in, and we'll do it all for you. Do remember to keep the visibility as public until the captions are posted back. All righty. So that is the extent of what I have here prepared in advance for us. Excuse me, just inhaled something. A few questions here towards the end. Let's see. Is there a way to rearrange or organize videos in the studio? Mine are in order of upload, which makes them hard to find. I have not found an easy way to search in my YouTube account. I think the playlist idea and the channel idea was supposed to come out first. So if you have, say, since it's Skylar, if you have a Math 135 playlist or a channel that's only those videos, they assume that you'll push everything that way and that you'll take the Math 099 and make it separate while you're building it up. So if you need a lot of organization in those videos, you may wish to add like a little code to them or something, but the arrangement is almost always in order of chronological upload. I'm betting Google will have some changes to this as they continue to work with YouTube and bend it to their purposes. Yes, manager versus editor. Leslie, it's manager for Karen, not editor. We have to have the management rights. We're not changing anything. We're not going in. We're just getting access to that file. The institutional account, I think you may have missed that. To get to it, the waffle, in other words, if you're in your YouTube account, you should be able to hit the waffle that's sitting right next to Jefferson College in your name there. Let me get back so I can see that and show you what I mean. Any Google page that has this waffle will allow you to quickly get to all of the Google apps. If your Jeffco account is in this image, then when you click on any of these, you should be logging in under that account. But if you're not, you'll need to change that. For example, up here, if I were in this account, if this is the one that I need, I might not open this account the next time because I'm accessing it differently. So let's see what happens from this account. When I open it, it pushes me back to the other one that I'm logged in on. So I have to switch. But you can also access that from any Google app. It's all right there. Other questions? Let's see. Careful with video names and using playlists to find them later. Yes, Leslie is proactive, more than I was in that case. The form located, yes, I haven't displayed the form yet because it's in need of a bit of revising before I push that out. So I'm going to do those revisions and then send out this recording along with a couple of other helpful tip sheets and whatnot. So that'll all come out to you shortly. It's also, if you have the CTL website, it's right there on the CTL resources landing page. We're going to have a big change coming soon that will allow you to reach all of our forms and all of our slideshows very easily. Right now, I know they're in a whole bunch of different places. I just can only do so many things at once, and that's one of them that I haven't gotten to yet. Any other pieces in there? Final questions? All righty. I know this is a shorter one, but I'm sure you appreciate the extra 20 minutes. Look for the email that'll come with the wrap up and all of this resources and the recording pretty soon. I hope to have it out tomorrow. You cannot move a video if you put it in the wrong account. My apologies, I didn't cover that. That's an important one. Yes, As Skylar says, you have to upload it to the other account. It's not easy to shift between channels even. Yeah, that part stays. That I'm sure is also another thing that Google will change. So make sure you know where you're going when you upload it. All right, folks. Thanks so much. I'm going to go ahead and shut this one off and start preparing it and the one from earlier today. Have a good one and give me a holler if you've got any questions.